Good evening. Andrew Rossendale has defended his defection to Reform UK, arguing the right needs to work together to defeat Labour. The MP for Romford announced he was leaving the Conservatives last night, accusing the party of failing to rescue the country. In an interview with our political correspondent Simon Harris, the man who joined the Tories, inspired by Margaret Thatcher, denied he was betraying her memory. But in his constituency today, Mr Rossendale's voters weren't so sure.
Anyone passing Romford Conservative Club is left in no doubt about who's the poster boy. The building boasts 4 large pictures of a smiling Andrew Rossendale. But voters in the town woke up to the news that Rossendale had become the latest Conservative MP to defect to Reform.
We elected him as a Tory candidate, and I think he just can't change like that. I think they need to change the law. If an MP resigns, then he should really give up his seat.
I think he should have resigned as a Conservative member and then given the public their chance to vote whether they want Conservative or Reform in Romford.
I think we should have a by-election.
No vote, no by-election, sort it out.
It's just letting people down, really. His supporters are let down, really, isn't it?
Rossendale was welcomed into his new party by Reform UK's leader, Nigel Farage. He's the second Tory MP to jump ship in the space of 4 days. Andrew Rossendale has been the MP for Romford for 25 years. He's made no secret of his admiration for Margaret Thatcher, and his constituency office is named after her. In 2001, he persuaded the former Prime Minister to join him on a campaign visit to Romford Market. You were a big fan of Margaret Thatcher's. Have you betrayed her memory?
Definitely not. I stand for everything that she stood for, and I will continue to do so. Politics.
But she wouldn't have walked out on the Conservative Party.
She would have worked with anybody to do the best for our country. She was a patriot first and foremost, and I believe that she today would analyse this in the way that I've done.
Romford sits on the eastern fringe of Greater London. Many people here still regard themselves as part of Essex. A recent opinion poll suggested Reform would win the seat if there was a general election tomorrow. Ashley is a member of Romford Conservative Association and, like many Tories here, is aware of the changing mood of voters.
There is movement towards reform, as there is all over the country.
Do you suspect Andrew Rossendale has jumped ship because he feared losing his seat?
I think that may be a possibility. I wouldn't guarantee that, but I think that's a possibility. I think most people that are jumping ship probably have that view, yeah.
Have you jumped ship because you knew you couldn't win your seat?
Not at all. I believe I would win the seat, as I have done for the last 7 elections.
The voters didn't get a say in it, but Romford now has London's first Reform MP.
So Simon, what does this mean for Andrew Rossendale's future with Romford then?
Well, Charlene, for now he is still the MP for Romford, but it's by no means clear that he will be Reform UK's candidate at the next general election. You would assume he has got some sort of promise about that, but when I asked him today, he suggested he would have to go through a formal selection process. What he has done, of course, is defect ahead of Nigel Farage's May the 7th deadline, so that might stand him in good stead. But you can easily, if you look at the numbers, you can see why he might think his chances are better with Reform. In 2019, in the general election which Boris Johnson won his landslide, Andrew Rossendale's majority in Romford was almost 18,000 votes. By the time of the last general election in 2024, his majority was down to to below 1,500. And since then, the Tory poll rating has slumped even further.
OK, Simon, thanks very much. Prince Harry was at the High Court today for the long-awaited start of his civil case against the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. He's part of a group which includes Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Sir Elton John and the actor Sadie Frost, who accuse Associated Newspapers Limited of using unlawful techniques to get stories. It strongly denies the claims, saying they can explain how their articles were sourced. Yasmin Bottleby has the latest.
He's walked this walk before, but Prince Harry is perhaps going into his biggest battle yet with the tabloid press and leading the charge of an army of famous faces who say their lives were wrecked by the publisher of the Daily Mail. Following Harry into court, Sadie Frost, part of the Primrose Hill set, firm fixtures on the front pages in the 90s, and small smiles from Liz Hurley. But there's nothing civil about this civil case at the High Court.
How are you feeling confident?
The 7 accuse Associated Newspapers Limited of practices including bugging cars, hacking phones and blagging access to bank and medical records. Perhaps the most dramatic evidence will come from Baroness Doreen Lawrence. When her son Stephen was murdered in a racist attack in Eltham more than 30 years ago, the Daily Mail supported her cause. But she says she was betrayed, claiming the paper also tapped and hacked her phone. Associated Newspapers denies this. Among the flurry of claims and rebuttals in court today, Sir Elton John and his husband David Furnish alleged their son Zachary's birth certificate and medical details were stolen, and Prince Harry claims a private investigator unlawfully obtained flight details of his ex-girlfriend Chelsea Davy, and that the plan was to plant someone next to her. Associated Newspapers vigorously deny all the allegations, calling them preposterous, telling the court the claimants had leaky social circles. They say that for almost every article alleged to be the product of phone hacking or tapping, they're able to call witnesses to explain how the story was sourced and have more than 40 of its journalists ready to defend them. The arguments are due to go on for 9 weeks. Yasmin Bottleby, ITV News.
Well, ITV's royal editor Chris Shipper's outside the High Court for us. And Chris, Prince Harry's the driving force behind all of this, isn't he?
Yeah, hi Charlene, he is, and a lot of the cameras were focused on him when he arrived here at the High Court this morning because, yeah, quite frankly, he is the most high profile of, quite a few high profile names on the list bringing this joint action against the publishers of the Daily Mail. But, Elton John's in there too, the former Liberal Democrat MP in South London, Sir Simon Hughes is one of them. And then, of course, we've got Doreen Lawrence. And actually, we heard a lot about Doreen Lawrence today in court. The barrister representing all the claimants was just outlining exactly why she claims she was the victim of unlawful news gathering, namely the payment of information to police officers. And the significant part of that, as Yaz was just saying, is that here you had the Daily Mail in 1997 famously putting up that front page accusing the suspects in Stephen Lawrence's case of murder. 2 of them later went on to be convicted of murder in 2012. But then Doreen Lawrence, in statements to court today said, "I am a victim all over again, but by people who I thought were my friends and allies." Associated Newspapers will put up a very strong defence and they will call many of their former journalists and editors to give evidence here. Prince Harry and others back in court tomorrow.
OK, Chris, thanks very much. A watchdog has stepped in to remove trainee anaesthetists from Basildon University Hospital amid concerns they are not being protected from sexual misconduct, misogyny and undermining behaviours. The General Medical Council said it would need evidence of change before the trainee doctors can return to the programme. Mid and South Essex NHS Foundation Trust say it's working with NHS England and the GMC to make the agreed improvements. And researchers from London Zoo have described the Thames as having a new lease of life after recording an increase in bird species and marine mammals along the river. However, they warned of the threat of rising water temperatures. The son of an 88-year-old woman who died after a firework was put through her letterbox has taken his campaign to limit their sale to Westminster. Alan Smith wants tougher regulations. His mum, Josephine, was killed when fire tore through her home in Romford back in 2021. Cafe Patter reports.
For nearly 3 years, Alan Smith has been campaigning for tighter regulations on the sale of fireworks. Now, with a new year and a new government, he's hoping someone will finally listen.
Alan, we've spoken a few times. There's been a number of years that you've been campaigning for this issue. Do you think this government will be the one to listen to you?
I don't think they're going to ban them in the high street, but I am hopefully optimistic that we might get licensed displays only. I think that might be the way forward.
Alan's campaign began after the death of his mother, 88-year-old Josephine Smith. She was killed when 2 teenagers placed a firework through her letterbox.
I'm trying to get fireworks. I want to let some off at people.
And there they are, buying them from their local shop.
Yeah, I mean, that should never be able to happen. Buying them randomly on a high street, I've said this to you before, the same line, buying a newspaper, a bag of chips and then fireworks and going out and terrorising people, I just think it makes no logical sense to me whatsoever.
That much tougher action must take place now on fireworks.
Today, MPs debated Alan's petition, questions and answers about what to do. whatever they decide, an actual law is still a while away.
Kids are going out with bangers, fireworks, being let off all hours of the day, and I think that the debate today really is about the expression of the frustration that people have about how things have changed.
I mean, some people might argue that this is all going too far. You can't ban everything. You can't ban the sale of fireworks in high street shops.
Alan's always been very balanced about this issue. He doesn't want a ban, that's not what he's seeking, but he thinks that the rules around the sale of fireworks are very relaxed, and that it's also becoming something that's seeping far too much into people's everyday lives.
Although the government has introduced enforcement action for fireworks misuse, there is no obligation to change current law. This debate is merely procedural. Regardless, Alan intends to keep fighting both for the future and his mother. Kath Opata, ITV News.
Still to come on the programme.
I'll be meeting the stars of a new film that's the perfect tonic for the Blue Monday.
And at another cinema celebrating the usher who changed the flicks. The founder of a new social enterprise is calling on employers in the capital to be bold and compassionate in offering job opportunities to those who have criminal convictions. Rise Up London offers one-to-one employability support and partnerships with companies. It was founded by Roxanne Foster, who joins us now. Roxanne, thanks so much for coming in. Now, I've looked at these figures and they show a huge reluctance for some employers to hire someone with a conviction. I think 1 in 5 employers would immediately reject a candidate who disclosed it. 57% have never recruited someone with one, which is a higher figure than it was, say, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
In the work that you've done, what do you find the reluctance is all about?
I think the reluctance is about not knowing what they're really getting into. And I think everybody feels anybody who's gone to prison has gone to prison for something violent or something abhorrent. When most people, that's not the case, especially with women. I particularly like to support black women who have been to prison, and more often than not, their convictions aren't to do with anything that's been violent.
And so then they do their time, they come out back into the community, want to, you know, have another stab at life, and then find that they can't find employment.
Yeah.
I mean, what impact does that have?
It has such a massive impact. As you can imagine, I think somebody who's been in prison, myself, I've also been in prison. Whilst you're in there, you're thinking, okay, once I leave, I'm going to get my life sorted. I'm going to hit the ground running. And there's just barriers after barriers after barriers. And the main point that needs to be satisfied is to have an employment, is to get a job.
Did it take you quite a while to find employment once you came?
Oh no, because I'm brilliant. I
can see that, yes.
I got my job like 3 days after I left prison.
That's incredible.
But I work for an organisation called A Fairer Chance, and Maggie met me when I was in prison, and our relationship was built from there. So when I left, she was like, come for an interview. And then I fell into this type of work.
And, you know, you're doing incredible things. I mean, the reality is, we're talking about 9 million people of the working age have a record, which works out about a quarter of the working age population that actually want to work.
Yeah.
So even if we're talking about it in terms of facts and figures for the country, there are people that want to work, and you believe they should be given a chance.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what do you make of people like the Prisons Minister, James Timpson? Obviously, the Timpson shops employ those who have convictions. I can see you sort of holding back there. But yeah, what do you make of his policies?
His policies are interesting. As a concept, those that work in the Timpson stores are known because they have a conviction. I don't feel that it's necessary for that to be something that they need to brandish for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So working anywhere, you wouldn't know if someone has a conviction, but you would, when you step into a Timpson store, you go in with that mindset. And that's something that I'm trying to overcome, because the conviction it has happened. It's history, right?
Yeah.
So let's keep it moving. Let's keep stepping.
And also, I guess your message is just for a lot more companies, just consider it.
Absolutely.
Because it will help with reoffending rates and to help people change their lives. Roxanne, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. Thank you. OK, bit of sport now, and Spurs manager Thomas Frank has claimed it's business as usual at Tottenham, despite intense speculation over his future at the club. A 2-1 loss at home to West Ham on Saturday was Frank's 8th defeat in 14 matches. But ahead of hosting Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League tomorrow, he said he was feeling the trust among club bosses. Well, that win against Spurs on Saturday was high on the agenda at a special meet-up of West Ham supporters today. The group's called Any Old Irons. Get it? And it's a chance for Hammers fans over the age of 65 to get together. They say it's invaluable, especially on these dark January days. But perhaps surprisingly, a familiar face told Helen Keenan what it means to him too.
He's used to being in defence rather than up front. Despite that, the former West Ham star wasn't out of position today, leading the lyrics at a special session to stop loneliness and social isolation for the elderly.
Coming in here and speaking and socialising, listen, I need it too, not just the elderly.
So it's good for your mental health and theirs?
Yeah, it is good for my mental health. I'm somebody who struggled with mental health issues after retiring. You know, I understand when coming here why it's so important, because I've had them struggles myself. Being able to speak and share my love for the football club with people who love it as much as I do, it warms my heart and it makes me feel good. So, you know, I feel like Anton Ferdinand again.
They meet at the club's community hub, the Foundry in Beckton, each month. And while football is always high on the agenda of conversation, health is a hot topic too.
What difference does coming here make to you?
Our age group suffers more mental health indignities than any other age group. For example, the dementia, that's mental health. The fact that we're isolated and we spend vast amount of time at home, days on end, you might not speak to anybody.
Now, there's 3 or 4 men my age here have all got prostrate problems. You just forget about your problems when you come here.
After a big win over Spurs this weekend, these fans swapped chanting in the stands for singing along with their celebrity guest. But he hasn't been their one and only.
You've had some celebrities, haven't you, joining? Chesney Hawkes, how was that?
Yeah, he promised to come to one of our meetings, yet he was mobbed by all the ladies.
How much do you enjoy it? What difference does it make?
Oh, it makes a load of difference, and it gets you out of yourself. Where you might get a bit depressed or anxious, and it gets you out of that mood.
Supporters of their team and each other's mental health. The Any Old Irons aren't any old choir. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
Next, we're live on the red carpet for a film which is trying to find laughs in the breakdown of a marriage.
I think I'm getting a divorce. What tipped me off was that I'm living in an apartment on my own, and my wife and kids don't live there. That was probably the biggest clue.
Is This Thing On tells the story of a man who finds a new life in stand-up comedy and is based on the life of comedian John Bishop. Well, Sally, I can see you there with a couple of the big stars.
I am indeed. So, this story is so good. I watched it today. It's got everything. I laughed, I cried, I snorted. Sorry. And I had that moment where I can't watch. Tell us the plot. So you're married and you're splitting up, and what happens next?
Well, we've kind of, we find these people, they've drifted apart from each other, and they don't know how to communicate anymore. And my character, Alex, wanders into a bar and he ends up doing an open mic. And he says, for the first time, I think I'm getting a divorce. And that begins his journey of sort of understanding and really admitting for the first time what he's going through in his life. And Laura's character, Tess, is kind of going on a similar track, and she starts to open up in her own way.
And Laura, you've got this wonderful character. The relationship between you is so gorgeous. But in real life, you had to go and do stand-up comedy, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was it?
And we had to get married.
Yeah, we got married to prepare.
We had to prepare, so we're married.
So what's better, his stand-up comedy or being married to him?
Well, I get to be married to someone who does stand-up. I mean, it's amazing. It's a win-win.
You watched him do it for real, didn't you, Laura?
I did. I had to sit there and watch. That was my preparation. It was exhausting.
And that's marriage.
And hilarious.
I love that. And what what's amazing is it's about the story of John Bishop.
Yeah.
How does a guy from Canada end up telling John Bishop, the comedian, story?
It is. It's inspired by John. I met John socially, and he told me the story of how he became a stand-up. And I thought, wait, this is an incredible story, but even more about how stand-up allowed him, he and his wife, to sort of reconnect. And I just thought this is such a, really, it's not a movie about stand-up, it's about people, and it's so universal and genuine, and that was what we were trying to do. Just tell a story that anybody could relate to, that these people, Alex and Tess, are people that we know. It's us. It's
Yeah,
you know.
well, I've been with my husband for 20 years, so I can relate to it.
Yeah.
I know you can definitely relate to it, being married to me. And very briefly, are you going to do any stand-up comedy here in London, Will?
I'm not. I haven't been doing it lately, but I did it once recently in New York, but I haven't been doing it.
Oh,
no.
come on, there's some around the corner. And I hear you would love to be in the West End. If you could do any show, what would you do, Laura?
Is this thing on, the musical?
Oh, yes! Amazing. Right,
Set
you saw
it here, guys.
Set it here first. Okay, I've got to do the weather now.
Okay.
Can you do your Lego Batman throw to Sally doing the weather?
And now, Sally with the weather.
Did you record that, guys? Did you go? So great to meet you. Thanks
to
so
meet you
much.
too.
Fab film. Enjoy. Here's the weather.
Come rain or shine, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello again. I hope you had a lovely start to the week. Blue Monday. We even had blue weather. I don't know how you got that, Ruth. But hopefully tomorrow it will be a little bit brighter. But Wednesday it goes downhill again, turning wet and windy. And our temperatures, they're starting off quite mild, but they're gradually going to ease off as we go through the week and get a little bit cooler. So let's take a look at the pressure chart and you can see what's causing the rain that's come through this week. It's low pressure, so that system coming through tomorrow night and then into Wednesday, lingering for Thursday, and then for Friday another one. So yes, wet and windy on Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday there may be potential bits and pieces of rain around, so we'll keep an eye on it and we'll let you know all the detail as it unfolds. So for the rest of tonight, there might actually still be a few showers to pass through, but it's fairly quiet. Temperatures not coming down too far, so it won't be too chilly. We're resting in those mid to high single figures. So yeah, as tomorrow gets going, yeah, not too cold, and hopefully that wind will just help break up that cloud a little bit more tomorrow. So we'll get some brighter spells, maybe even a bit of sunshine coming through as the day goes on. Temperatures are very similar to today, highs of 9 to 11 degrees, but it is going to be that bit breezier. And then for the evening, you can see it starts off dry, but all eyes to the west, that cloud will thicken, and later on, probably in the evening, overnight, that's when that rain will come through. And as we go into Wednesday, we've got further rain heading our way. It could be some on-off heavy pulses at times and stronger winds as well. And like I said, for Thursday and Friday, don't rule out some further bits and pieces of the old wet stuff. Right, that's it from us all here. Have a super evening. I'll see you later on. Cheerio.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
And finally, if you've ever managed to sneak a trip to the cinema while caring for your baby, or enjoyed an over-60s screening with coffee and cake, well, it's thanks in part to one woman, boss of Picture House Cinemas, Claire Benz. Over a 40-year career, she's devoted herself to making sure everyone is welcome at their local cinema and every story gets its moment on the big screen. Well, today it was announced that she'll be honoured with a BAFTA. Ranks Martel has been to Brixton to meet her.
Star billing at last. The name Claire Binns isn't usually up in lights, but finally it's been recognised for a lifetime dedicated to film.
Claire, outstanding contribution to British cinema. How does that feel to receive?
Amazing and thrilling. But I really feel I'm picking up this award for everybody that works in cinemas, but it's really for a whole army of people.
Her movie career spans 4 decades, and it all started here at the Ritzy Cinema in Brixton, not making films, but making sure people see them.
I started work at the Ritzy in about 1980. It changed my life working here. Everything that cinema is, I think, is represented by the Ritzy.
And since the 80s, she's championed independent cinema, from Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing,
You the man, no you the man, no you the man,
to Quentin Tarantino's first feature, Reservoir Dogs. And despite COVID closures and streaming services keeping people at home, Claire believes films should always be seen on a big screen.
You can never beat sitting in an auditorium, the lights going down, no distractions, a real sense of community. Watching films at home is not the same.
What makes her so special?
She genuinely has dedicated her life to the cause of independent filmmaking, supporting independent filmmakers, and ensuring that local communities can thrive through the local cinemas in their areas.
And what's it like seeing that?
It's just amazing and thrilling, and I really am very emotional about it all.
And what would you say to anyone who might have not been to the cinema for a while?
Well, you're missing out. And I think if you get yourself into your local cinema, you will remember how wonderful it is. And I would just say, get off your couch and get down there.
And you're going to have to go to the BAFTAs.
I am gonna, and I'm gonna have to get an outfit, which is very scary.
Claire receives her outstanding contribution to cinema at the ceremony on the 22nd of February. Rags Martel, ITV News, Brixton.
Oh, huge congratulations from all of us here, Claire. Well, that's it from us. The evening news is next with Mary, but from all of us, have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.